Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Rod Singh, and you're watching the weekly podcast. And I have my co host along with me.
Good page at 12.
Thank you, Gritesh, for being with me tonight. And guys, as you can see, we have our guest tonight with us, and I wanted to give a introduction. But first of all, I want to say it's our honor to have him on our show today because he actually does not require an introduction. He is I would say, if a lot of folks that they are politically informed that are one of the Indian person back in 1950s that was in the Congress, that was Dilip Sawant. But after that, if anybody names comes in the Central Valley or California, or I believe it would be right to say in the entire United States, it would be Tejman, who ran for first time a city council in Yuba City in 2002. So he is sitting with us tonight, and it's our honor to have him. So I would like to welcome him and share some journey about himself with us and with the audience. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I appreciate the work you guys are doing, um, being providing me a stage and being able to share um, uh, some information with your viewers.
Thank
No,
you.
thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, sir. So sincerely appreciate that. So we all know you, but yeah, let's for some of the listeners who may be wondering about your journey. So from where you started and till date, let's please share some more about you.
Okay, well, I'll give you. Hopefully, I don't bore too many people, but I was born and raised in India, Punjab, Batinda district. Now it's Mansa. I was born in 1961. Went to local schools there and spoke Punjabi, Hindi, and I grew up in a typical village life with parents in the village farming community. We moved to America in January 1975. Like all of us, didn't speak a word of English like most, especially back then. Nowadays people are a little better equipped to come into the States and function. Back then, we came from the village. We were just awe and shocked with where we are at in America, and so we have a steep learning curve when we get here. And so in eighth grade, I came to San Mateo County in Foster City. Was the only Punjabi kid student in that school. Finished my eighth grade, and since we didn't speak English and the parents didn't have the education to get a job in the Bay Area, we moved to Yuba City. Yuba City is a ag community, and back then was one of the very few communities where we had a decent sized population from people from Punjab. So it made the transition easier. Parents were able to work in the farms. We were the farm, make a living. There were other Punjabis living there, welcoming. And so started Yuba City High School. Was at Yuba City High School for 4 years. After that, got accepted to UC Davis. Went to Davis for another 4 years, and worked odd jobs with the state and so forth, and finally got my job in my field, which is environmental health, which deals with restaurant inspections and well permits, septic permits, gas stations, underground tanks, schools, landfills, typical environmental health work. So I did that for 32 years in Yuba City, in Yuba County. Actually, it's in Marysville. That gave me as you grow, gave me an opportunity to be more involved in our community. Initially, from about 75 to 80, or even early 80s, there was a very small population, Punjabi speaking population in here in America. We didn't really have the culture, the music. We didn't have TV shows. We didn't have the festivals. We didn't have these big weddings. We didn't have a lot of gurdwaras. Uh, we, first Gurdwara, I mean, first Gurdwara is in Stockton, built in early 1900s. But after that, second one was here in Yuba City, built in 1969. So you can imagine there weren't a lot of places to gather. Uh, but even the Gurdwara, you go with your parents as a kid, and then um, Sunday program. That was about it. All the weddings back then were taking place back in Punjab. Everybody, as you became a marriage age, you went back to Punjab and got married. And so really didn't have much interaction. You were becoming more Americanized quickly, assimilating into the American culture. And it was great that quickly you become accustomed to the customs and culture here, and so you can get the most benefit of the America. It was bad that you're forgetting your, uh, you're losing your culture. Uh, but those of us that were hungry for, starving for our culture, when the migration picked up in the mid '80s, especially after 1984, as we started getting more and more people, especially in the valley, in places like California and Yuba City and so forth, people started coming from India with experience who would start a TV show here. Maybe they were in college in India. They did cultural programs. They would start festivals here, the radio shows. And as more and more population grew, we started having more programs here. We started having weddings here. And that gave us an opportunity to get back to our culture, uh, and become more. We were Punjabis and we were Americans at the same time. And it was finally a balanced life, where our kids were able to take Punjabi as a foreign language. When I came to America in '75 and barely getting the hang of the English language, and they're telling me I have to take a foreign language if you want to go to college, and I said, well, I already speak foreign language, English. Said, no, 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 you can pick German, Japanese, Spanish, French. Wow, so I took Spanish, and here I am just, God, I'm just gonna be just learning languages all my life. First couple of years learning Punjabi, then Spanish, so I can go to college. Did that, but now it's nice. Schools offer Punjabi in the valley. Our kids can learn their own language, their mother tongue, and they communicate with their grandparents. And so a lot of that. What I was getting at is, I probably lost a lot of you just kind of jumping back and forth, trying to give the whole story of my life and get into questions and answers in a small period of time. Just to summarize, people that came in the earlier days kind of were frozen in time. People that came in the '60s, that they had the '60s culture from Punjab, and in the '70s, that's what we thought was Punjab. And then as people started coming in the '80s and '90s, we became more current. I'm glad that we have the best of both worlds. We have our culture. The Punjabi music, the Punjabi food. It's wonderful to have that, and we have it in a country where we have the freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of speech in a great country, in America. We have the best of both worlds, where we can work hard, make an honest living, and this is all wonderful. But everything wasn't wonderful. In 2000, after 9/11 happened, first victims of racism or hate were Sikhs.
Right.
Dodi in Arizona, and there were other incidences in the States. We went to candlelight vigil in 2000, after 9/11, 2001, in the fall, and we had meetings, and we said, we thought we were part of the American fiber. We were just accepted as anybody else. We realized that most of our American friends accept us as we are. There's a lot of ignorance. These people don't even know who we are. They're calling us by Muslim names. Not that it's okay to call Muslim any bad names, but these people don't even know who we are. And how do we make people aware? And how do we become a part of this culture? Because I think we had kind of, the pendulum had swung from where we were very well mixed into the American community, and then now newcomers, we were starting to get, we were hanging out more at the gurdwaras, and we were getting away from our neighbors. They didn't know who we were. We said we need to get it. We don't want our kids. If there's another incident 10 years from now, we don't want our kids to be hiding because they look different. And we thought the best way, really, the way to get involved in the mainstream community and be a get the spotlight on us and be the role models and all that is through politics. We had people, plenty of people in medicine, doctors do a great job in the hospitals and in the world representing us, right? And engineers in engineering big firms, we have investors and bankers, and we have truckers. We have people in all fields doing a great job representing us. But if we could have, nothing like the spotlight on a politician. If we have, right now people talk about Nikki Haley. I mean, you don't need to say that. Or you say Ro Khanna now or you or a local level, you say Manny Grewal or Sunny, my friend, her in Laythorpe. You start. It's a bigger spotlight, and you can get the message across much sooner, much quicker. So we decided that we're gonna have to get involved in the politics. I know once one of us gets involved, people will follow, and if we're successful, I don't see it as a huge news that one day somebody from the Sikh American community becomes a president. Right now, I mean, that day, people, you couldn't say that, what I just said. You couldn't say that because people would laugh at you. I mean, people laughed at me just saying I want to be the city councilman. People in Yuba City in 2002 said, wow, अपना एक पंजाबी खड़ा होया है, इनकी ने वोट पड़ी है. It was people, I mean, they would love to see one, but they just didn't think our person, Sikh American, Punjabi American could get elected.
Right.
So in anything, you have to be the first. You just don't think you could land on the moon until you try and try. President Kennedy said we're going to land on the moon. President Kennedy was dead, but we landed on the moon in 1969. So these things are, sometimes you don't even accomplish it in your lifetime. So we decided to go for that. The Yuba City community was wonderful. They raised funds for me. They backed me, and we got in. First time I ran in 2002 fall, I didn't win. I was ahead of the Yuba City Mayor Lee Welch that year. I beat him by 3 votes, but somebody else voted me by 39 votes. So I didn't win, but was so close. What that did is it made people believe that, oh yeah, look at Tej. Nobody knew him. Guy born and raised in India. He just got here a few years ago, and he's doing good. But look at him. He almost won. That's his first try. He doesn't have any experience running political office and all that. So just getting close, it created, it got rid of that myth that only a white man can run, or that Punjabis couldn't run, a minority couldn't run. So that opened up the doors. 2 years later, we had quite a few people running in the Central Valley, in this California and Bay Area. Another 2 years go by, more people running. And I finally got elected in 2006. It was my third try. And we, by then, we had several people running in several communities, and several people got elected. So I was not the first to get elected. There were several of us that got elected at that time. But I was the first to, after a long time, like you said, Deep Son did it in the 56, I think, became a congressman. Very huge accomplishment. First person from the whole Asia continent that was
Right.
elected to do that big office. But after that, I don't know what happened, but people just didn't. And he wasn't very open about who he is. He tried to keep his name, not use his last name, just try to decide. I can tell because racism was blunt in those days. But by the time I was running, we don't have to hide our names. I mean, we run as though the racism wasn't blunt. I mean, there's still some there, but so I was glad I won. I'm proud that I was able to blaze that trail, and I'm proud to be a role model, and I'm happy to encourage, and I hope, I was the first step. I think I did a good job with the first step, but there are many steps, and I hope people will come that will start from where we're leaving, where I left off. And we're already got people in assembly, we got people in Congress, still a little hesitant to claim that they're Punjabis or Sikhs. I like to see one day where you could say, "I'm proud. I was. My parents or my grandparents are from Punjab, and I'm of this faith, and but I am American." Um, and I think that day is not too far when we're going to have people at very high positions that are from our background. And sometimes it may sound racist by talking like this, the R there. That's not my point. My point is that people representing us should be of all backgrounds. So the people in the Senate floor and any committees, any gatherings, they should look like the way our population looks like. And that's not the way it was in the last century. It was mostly dominated by older white men.
Right.
And I think if you have a diverse group at the table, you have diverse ideas, and you can choose the best ideas. We're in a democracy, and the majority rules. So, but it's good to have backgrounds. Hey, who knows? I mean, we're sitting at a table trying to come up with a solution. Maybe I bring a solution from my experience, me running around in our little village. So the bigger the diversity, the bigger background, the diverse background, the more you can bring to the table. You don't want all five guys on the city council from the same economic status, same family background, same middle class white men. Nothing wrong. White men have done a great job creating this country. So I don't want to sound like I'm bad mouthing white men. We're enjoying this wonderful country that was founded by white men. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. I mean, those guys, legends. I mean, what a great country they built up, great constitution they wrote. But it's time to add our diversity. It's time that we keep making it a better. Every day, I think we make America a better country. Every immigration wave made this country better, whether it was the Italians or the Chinese or what have you. Now, we see people from India, Pakistan, that part of the world in the news a lot more often now, and that's because it's our turn now, and that's because there's more professionals and people with more of the brightest people coming from those countries to this country. This country pulls all the bright people from the whole entire world, and that's why this country keeps getting better. We got the brain instead of the brain drain. We got the brain, gathering here. Look at Silicon Valley, where all the brains from the entire world come, and look how it just keeps inventing things. I mean, Facebooks and what have you. I mean, it seems like every other day we're doing something here.
Right.
We are sitting in a wonderful place, in a wonderful part of the country, and I say let's be more involved and do what we can, our part. I always tell everybody, I tell my kids, I said, listen, even animals take care of their own and themselves.
Right.
We need to do one step further and see what we could do. My son is my oldest. He's an attorney. He's in Manhattan, studied financial law. He's 31, 32. And I'm asking him, I said, once you get settled, you need to say, what are you going to do for your community? What are you going to do for your country? And I think it's important. The rewards are, there's no amount of money that can, you could go into some money-making world, and it's wonderful if that's what makes you sleep better. But the rewards in the community, being involved in your community, the love that you get back, and the feeling, there's no price. It's, I was, my daughter was in New York a couple of years back, and she was in a taxi, and our taxi driver was a Sikh, turban-wearing Punjabi man, and he asked my daughter, "Where are you from?" She goes, "Oh, I'm from Yuba City." She goes, "Oh, do you know?" He goes, "Do you know Tejman?" And my daughter is just like, "Wow, this guy knows my dad." I mean, or I'm just her dad, no, but nothing special. But him saying that to her, it was just, it what, and the guy wouldn't accept money from her. I mean, here she is in a strange part of the world that she's not. And here's a guy giving her a free ride.
Right.
So that's it's wonderful.
Yeah, no, we want to thank you, Tejman, so because you chose to be in the policy making or just to explore the journey for spreading awareness. But there was a triggering point that allowed you or that thought came to your mind. So this month we are celebrating Vaisakhi, so as a Sikh appreciation and awareness month. So trying to express or trying to spread information because yeah, you touched the main point at 9/11. So in March 4, 2011, so in El Grove, two Sikh turban-wearing gentlemen they were murdered. Then on August 5, 2012, in Wisconsin Oak Creek, six turban-wearing men they were murdered. Because those were the things because of misinformation, misidentification. So you chose this route to follow the policy making, to spread awareness, to share the values who Sikh are. So if they will learn, so if you're on the table, you will be making decisions, you will be bringing some points, they will be able to learn. So what is his thought process from where this person is coming? So we all appreciate you for choosing this path just to spread awareness and information. So now I'll take it back to Raj.
So no, great, like what Ritesh said, and thank you, Tejman, for sharing your whole journey from how you came from India to get into a Davis University, which is a huge deal. I actually want to focus and point that out. Even though right now it's a huge deal when you get into a UC Davis, it's not anything simple like, oh yeah, apply for it, I get it. It requires for your commitment, determination, and you need to be intellectual. And back in that time, it was a huge deal that you graduated from there. And
a huge deal. And a lot of my parents' friends were discouraging me from attending. They say, well, if you fail, then he'll be discouraged and all and so on. But you know what? We all have it in us. Believe me, I'm nothing special. Believe me, when I was in India ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਨ ਪੜਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਮਾਸਟਰ because we when I was in 8th grade in Punjab, when I knew I was going to America, all my friends were going, what are you going to do in America, man? We're all flunking English here. We were taking English as a second language in Punjab. And we're, how are you going to speak? How are you going to learn? I said, well, I don't know. Parents are going, so we're going. I didn't have any special education. I grew up in a village. If you look at a lot of our doctors, engineers, you look at their backgrounds, they didn't go to some private school in Chandigarh or Delhi, okay? Right. Grew up in our villages. You guys are younger, but back in we used to sit on a bori, that's a sack, and then we used to, instead of having notebooks to write on, we had this wood, and then we used to put a little clay thing over it, right, and then write on that, and then lunchtime we would clean, poach it, putty poach, school. Did that. That's my background. You don't have to come from a certain background. Your parents don't have to be some highly educated set of parents. That my parents, my mom, they still speak broken English. We still have same issues. All of us do. We have personal issues. We have social issues. We just need to be driven. We need to care. We need to be involved. The rewards are there. This is really a wonderful, wonderful country. People are wonderful. When you go out and they run for the office, you're going to meet so many wonderful people, so many people willing to help you work on your campaign. We get the credit, but there's a lot of people involved. Tej Mon became the councilman, but Tej Mon doesn't do it by himself. There's a team. There was people that helped me, and I can never thank them enough. we get the credit. You know, Tage Mont, first guy to run for an office, first councilman. We were just doing a little bit, whatever we can, along with the rest of the community, and it does give you this burden on your shoulder. Now you've got to behave. You have the spotlight on you. You know,
Right.
you're all, so you have to be a good person and be a role model in your community. But I'm telling you, it doesn't take a super genius, which I'm not. It doesn't take a hardest working person. Just a normal, just staying out of trouble, staying out of drugs, alcohol. You know, just a normal, good family life. You know, just try to do what's the right thing to do. Doesn't happen overnight. Doesn't happen in a day. Uh, my first 2 years in high school in America, I was still learning English and flunking simple classes like pre-algebra. My last year, by the time I figured it out and got the hang of it, I was acing calculus and physics and biology and chemistry and taking all these classes and getting accepted to Davis. And the same thing at Davis. First, it was a struggle. It was still because we have to learn from the beginning where people that you're going to school with, they born here. They a lot of that they already know through movies and so forth, the culture and history. We don't know any of that, but we can learn it. And I'm an example sitting right in front of you guys. It doesn't take a special genius. Any ordinary guy that's willing to work, put in their hard work. Not that hard either. I enjoy fun. I mean, believe me, I'm watching movies, listening to music. I love Hindi songs, Rafi, Kishore, Mukesh. I love Punjabi songs, all Deep Manik, and you name it. I'm listening to that. I'm listening to the Bee Gees and Mick Jagger, Rolling Stones. I mean, the more we know, the more we get to enjoy movies. It's a wonderful life. We really are in a great time, guys.
Right.
We're sitting in Northern California, especially the Central Valley. We're sitting in a great place. Um, it's a be we're all when you're a minority, you're all role models. When they meet you, oh, I know an Indian guy. I say, Rajdeep, yeah, I know a Punjabi guy. A nice guy. So then you represent and when you do something bad, then you also say, man, I hate those guys. I know this guy. He's just a terrible, terrible guy. We all are role models. We all represent our community, and let's make it good for let's make it easier for our fellow countrymen who are coming here and becoming part of this great.
And just one last thing that I wanted to actually connect and want to know how what do you think and what can you advise on this? So as we mentioned, by you have an education from American University here, then you stepped into a state jobs, and then from there you went into a public office. So how much does that play a role for you to simulate and understand and comprehend things among when you're sitting with the four other council members? They have a diversified background. They've been to these universities, and how much do you think that education plays the role in that?
I think we all bring something to the table, and not everybody has a college degree that's sitting on these council chambers or at Congress or wherever. We all bring something. I think the ability to have to reason is what it takes. You know, I was always working full time in my career when I did the city council, because this is a part-time job. It's not a my pay was $500 a month. Some of my friends would say, "Oh, councilman," and then they say, "How come you have an ordinary house?" I said, "Well, I'm just an ordinary average guy. I have an ordinary average house. I didn't hit the lotto, but it pays $5, and I probably spend that on phone and coffee meetings and all that." There's really it's not take money. And money, one thing sometimes when we immigrants, sometimes we really lose that the whole concept of what money is. Money is a tool that we need to pay for our things in our life. Money is not our goal.
Right.
And I think we need to be reminded. We knew that when we were growing up in our villages. that money is, yeah, we need it, but that's not our goal. Sometimes we immigrants forget that, and because we had zero or we had negative, that we make it, that's everything to us. Money, 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 money. Working double time, buy more stores, buy more gas stations, right? Buy whatever, just make more money. We need to. We got it. We got that now. We are better off than average American is financially. Now let's start enjoying life. Let's start becoming part of the communities, and let's come home and see our kids, and let's help them go play, local sports. Kids get your kids involved. Go to their games. Enjoy life. Money is only a small part of life. Don't end up with a bunch of millions of dollars and nothing else at the end of your life. That won't get you anywhere, because then when the call comes upstairs, you got that sack of money there and nothing else. You don't want to end up in that. So politics, any community work, you're going to lose money. You're not going to make money, unlike in India where politicians make. You lose money, but you gain so much love from the community that it makes it worth it. And you could do these things. You could be on a planning commission, park commission, any community organizations, and make a difference in your community. You don't have to give up your 8 to 5 job. People, they have their 8 to 5 job, or some work in different shifts, but they're involved in politics at all levels. So,
Right.
Yeah, no,
Thank you so much.
take away this point. Yeah, money should not be your goal. Education should be your goal. So for any community to uplift a community, especially for the minority community, education is the only thing that will take you further. So just as you mentioned that the first Stockton Gurudwara, so in 1989, first uh, Punjabi, he came to United States. In 1908, first Sikh temple was established in Stockton. And this is to mention that in 1912, they started first scholarship in UC Berkeley.
yeah.
So the scholarship, it was a Guru Gobind Singh Educational Scholarship. They gave 6 scholarships in 1912. So that was their vision, that was their foresightedness towards education.
Unfortunately, we lost a lot of great men from that. You had some extreme intelligent people. I wish we didn't lose them to they were in the other party, and a lot of
Right.
them were killed by the British when they went back to India. When you see, his name is on the tip of my tongue. He was hanged at age of 18. He went to UC Berkeley.
Kartar Singh Sraba.
Kartar Singh Sraba. I
Right.
mean, the ability of these young men, what they're doing. We lost a lot of. It set Punjabi Americans aback by losing those great men. But we could have Kartar Sarabas among us.
Yes.
That who was forward. It wasn't just that era. It wasn't just the early 1900s. They're here too now. It's sometimes the environment that people follow certain movement. We need to create through media like yours. Environment where our young people have civic pride and our community pride, and come up with to make everyone's life better. That the names that century from now people are going to remember. We need to find those people and bring them forward and uh, make us all proud.
Yeah, no, thank you. You brought a great point. Yeah, that Ghadar movement, there were many in these universities who were adding value, who would have add more value towards the American culture, but they had to move back. But the
Yeah.
sad part is nobody is talking about them. Nobody kind of remembers them or gets an opportunity to learn what this Ghadar movement was and what their contributions were.
We have. I'm proud of our youth now that we have a lot of young people in the American universities that are working through different movements like Jakara movement and uh, different I'm impressed by their ability, and I'm looking forward for them to rise above and start shining and start accomplishing things. And I would love to, whatever I can, help them uh, lead us all and move forward. We have a lot of talent in the Punjabi American community. We really do. I'm proud of our young men and young ladies at the university level. I get to meet quite a few of them, and I'm impressed, and I encourage them to follow their passion and do what they can, make their parents proud and make our whole community proud.
Oh, definitely. And thank you so much. I think we are on top of our half an hour, and thank you so much for giving us almost like an hour from your day to us today. We had a very great conversation before our show as well. So thank you so much, and we look forward to having some other discussion on some different topic with you. And please stay in contact. And if you know, to my listeners in the audience, if you guys have any question and wanted to reach out to Tejman, anything what he has done, and he can advise you on something, I'm sure he'll be very happy to assist you with that. So let us know, or you can find him on Facebook. So thank you so much.
Anytime, guys, you can message me on the Facebook. Feel free to call me if you want to discuss any of this. I'm pretty busy, but I'll take the time out. 530-300-7800. Tejman on the Facebook, TEJMAAN. Thank you, guys. Thank you for what you're doing. We're all doing our little part.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a great learning opportunity for us as well for our listeners. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, guys. All right.